Had a little encounter last night with a black bear. Good morning, campers. Wanted to share a little story with you here before I get going. Had a little encounter last night with a black bear, Ursa Major, and it was scary. So let me tell you what happened. Let me show you around here first. So there's my tent. I didn't take it down all the way because I wanted to kind of give you perspective. So that's my tent. And over here is a little table. I have my stuff on. That's where I ate my dinner, right? There's my tent. And if you can see back in there, up the trail, right there, that little grassy clearing, there was another guy tenting right there. And he had a dog with him. So I hung my Ursac over here on this tree right here. This tree. I hung my Ursac here. And I used a stick to bring up the tension, and it was up here. It was above my head. So it was hanging about 6 foot. So as you can see, there's my tent, there's the table. So last night it was windy, and the leaves are falling off the tree, and there's a lot of rustling sounds and whatnot. And I'm a light sleeper as it is. I even had earplugs in, but it was still a lot of noise from the wind and the leaves falling. I started hearing rustling sounds, rustling, like something was running around. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So there's a valley over here, as you can see. And there was enough ambient light from the buildings at night that, you could kind of see a little bit. You could see shadows and silhouettes. So I was sleeping with my head toward the valley. So I heard all this noise. I got up and I turned around and I see a shadow go by my tent with rustling sounds in the leaves. I'm like, what the hell was that? And I remember reading in the app, the Gut Hook app, people saying that they had wild boar visit the campsite around here somewhere. And I thought, oh my God, are the boar like running around? So I'm waiting to hear like oinking sounds or whatever sounds a boar makes. And there's a lot of scampering, a lot of noise going on over by the other guy's tent. And I'm thinking, geez, something's going on over by his tent, but I don't hear him. I don't know if he's asleep or if he knows what's going on. Then I hear noise over where my Ursac was on that tree, this tree right here. So I'm in my tent. I put on my headlamp. Right, here's my tent. So from this perspective, I can't see the tree. There's this big tree now in the way. This tree is blocking my view of the little skinny tree behind it right here, where my Ursac was. But I'm shining my light over there, and I can hear noise going on. I'm like, that can't be a bear trying to go after my Ursac, could it? And sure enough, I see the rump of a bear just from behind this tree, because this tree's blocking my view. I see it like going like this back, like it's yanking on my Ursac. Here I am, literally 2 weeks from today, I'm finishing my hike. 2 weeks from today. Never had an animal touch my Ursac. Not a squirrel, not a chipmunk, not a mouse, not a raccoon, not a possum. Nothing. Nothing has bothered my Ursac until last night. And this is about midnight. So I'm like, holy crap. So I start yelling. I got my headlamp on. I put it on bright. And I'm yelling, get out of there. And I'm putting on my shoes. I'm trying to get out of the tent. And I get to right about where the table is here. And I'm shining my light, and the bear's right there, right? So that's just, so you know, that's about 20 to 25 feet away. He looks at me, and he scampers up onto this little rise right here. And he stays up there. So I start walking toward the tree to get my Ursac down to protect it, right? Because I don't know how long he's been gnawing at it. And he turns sideways, and I see him in profile, and he looks at me. And that's when I see, that's a big bear. This was not a juvenile, a cub, something that I, could easily handle. And I stopped. I got to the fire ring here, and there's my Ursac, and there's the bear, and I'm like, oh crap, that's a big bear. What do I do now? I can't get my air sac. So I grabbed some stones from around the fire ring. That's why the fire ring's kind of just all kind of in disarray. Some stones that were about the size of a large donut, I'd say, and flung them at the bear up there. I didn't hit the bear, but it was close enough to scare him. So he turned, he ran down this way, and there's another big tree right, I don't know if you can see, but that big tree right here. He was crouched down next to it because I could see his eyes. And bear's eyes reflect orange. So I could see the two orange eyes over there. And I start untying my earth sack, right? Keeping my eye on him with my headlamp, yelling at him, get out of here, get out of here. And the other guy comes out of his tent. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, there's a bear. He's like, what? So he comes out with his dog, and he comes over here, and he's like, he's trying to get his dog to go like bark at it or chase it, because bears don't like dogs, because dogs hunt bears. So I get my earth sack down, and I could tell it's got bear saliva on it. I can see some holes in it. I'm like, son of a gun. So I grab my earth sack, bring it back over to my tent, and then I come back over here. I said, he's still over there. So I grab some more stones, and I fling a stone, but it wasn't close enough, and it didn't scare him off. And then I found a chunk of wood, and I flung that over there, and I must have been a good shot, because he darted off. We heard him crashing through the underbrush and the leaves and stuff. So, my heart was pounding. And we eventually went back to our tents. I said, I'm gonna take my earth sack inside my tent. I'm gonna put it inside my pack liner to, number one, keep anything that might be leaking from leaking into the tent. I didn't have really too much liquid in the earth sack in my food. I have the packets of ghee, and I have some toiletries. Like I have a little tiny thing of liquid soap and some hydrocortisone cream, but not a lot of liquids per se. So I wasn't too worried about stuff leaking, but I just didn't want anything falling out, crumbs or anything like that. So I put the earth sack inside my pack liner, sealed it up good, twisted it and tied it off. And I said, I'm just going to sleep in my tent with it. So that's what I did all night. But I didn't sleep, of course, because I took my earplugs out, and I'm just laying there, and every time the wind blows and leaves fall, I'm like, is that a footstep? Is that the bear? So anyway, bring you up to speed. This morning, I got out of my tent, and I wait till it's light enough out to check the damage. And I put the earth sack down on the table here, and I take everything out of it. Every single thing out of it, lay it all out on the table. And I go through every single bag, every item in every bag, every article of food, everything in my smellies, what I call my smellies bag, all my toiletry stuff, toothbrush, toothpaste, all that. Smellies bag was unscathed. My cold soaking container was unscathed. And I know I heard plastic. When that bear was crunching on my bag, I thought, it sounds like when you squeeze an empty water bottle, that crinkle. I thought, oh no, he cracked or damaged my cold soak container. What am I going to eat out of now? Thankfully, no damage to that. I was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. So that was a stroke of good luck. Went through all my food. The biggest damage was the food I was going to eat today. That bag had puncture holes in it, and most of the food inside was either crushed or had holes in it, and I'm not going to eat something that a bear tooth has been in, because who knows what kind of bacteria bears harbor in their mouth. So I was very careful going through everything. Does anything have a hole in it? So I lost an entire day's worth of trail snacks, the protein bars and candy bars and stuff. That was what I was going to eat today. So I'm going to eat tomorrow's snacks today. I also had extra snacks. I had some leftover stuff that I just didn't eat on the trail, so I've got enough tomorrow. Tomorrow's a short day, like 7-point-something miles. So I should be to the hostel like at lunchtime. So I just need a few snacks on the trail in the morning. I have enough breakfast drinks. I have dinners. I lost about 4 dinners. I had about 10 dinners with me. So I lost 4 of them. And so I've got like a full gallon-sized baggie of trash right now, of stuff I have to throw out, plus another quart-sized bag of trash I have to throw out. And I erred on the side of caution. If anything looked like it might have a hole in it or have been compromised in any way, I just going to throw it out. So luckily, like I said, I'm going to be at the hostel tomorrow. I have enough food to get by. I'm okay. My Ursac is a little worse for wear. I'll show you some photos of that. And it was an intense moment. But I'm going to probably be sleeping with my food for the rest of the trip. I asked the other guy, I was like, where's your food? You know, where'd you hang your food? He goes, oh, it's in my tent. And he has a dog with him, and he has dog food and stuff. So, I mean, a lot of stuff that smells good to a bear. But, you know, bears don't really want to mess with humans if they don't have to. So I'm going to keep my Ursac in my tent from now on inside the pack liner for extra odor protection. And just hope for the best. Hopefully I won't camp anywhere where there's a particularly aggressive bear that doesn't care and will just, you know, barge its way into a tent to get to food. We'll see. I only have 8 more nights on the trail. Okay, I think, is it 14 nights altogether? I think there's 14 nights between now and when I'm done with the trail. But 6 of those are hostels. I'm staying at Gooder's Grove, Chica and Sunsets. That's 2 nights. I want to stay at Around the Bend for 2 nights and Above the Clouds for 2 nights. So that's 6 out of the 14 nights in hostels. The other 8 nights will be on the trail. So I just have to make it 8 more nights. And then I'm done. So that's it. Just wanted to share that story with you. It was a little crazy, a little scary. I'm still a little shook up. It's not going to be easy to sleep at night now with my Ursac in the tent with me, but I'll feel better having it in there, even you know, with the risk of having a bear come around. But I know a lot of people do that, so I'm not too worried about it. So that's it. Got to get on the trail now. It is a little after 10 o'clock. I'm just getting going, believe it or not. I wanted to file a report with the ATC about the bear incident, so they're aware of it, in case I need to warn other hikers. And I had to use the privy. So it's a little after 10. I got 12.7 miles, I think, today. Several ups and downs. Headed to Seiler Bald Shelter. The good news is about halfway there, around the 6 mile mark or so, is a trailhead with trash cans. I'm gonna have to throw out a bunch of my food, stuff that got damaged by the bear. I can't eat it. If anything was damaged or punctured, it's going out. I'm not touching it. So that'll be good, but I got to get there first. And there's water back at the shelter I just left, but there's also water 2 miles ahead, according to Gut Hook. There's a reliable stream. So I'll pick up some water there. It looks like there's not much water for the rest of the way. I'll double check when I get to the stream. I want to make sure there's water at the shelter. If there's not, that's going to be an interesting quandary. So, all right, well, I think today's more the same. It's just, you know, the same woods over and over again. Not a lot exciting to see, but if I see something, I'll share it, as always. So I just passed a hunter and his dog. And I said, oh, what are you hunting? He said, bear. And I said, I just saw a bear last night. He tried to get into my food bag. I told him what happened, and he goes, well, there's a bear. We think we've got one treed down at the gap up ahead. And I said, oh. I said, I don't know if it's the same one, but so he was a big guy. But I'll feel bad if, you know, that was the bear. I mean, I don't blame the bear. The bear's just hungry. You know, they're just big raccoons. They just want food. So, they're just doing what bears do. So, anyway, oh no. So it's almost 1 o'clock. I took a break at the Waya Bald Shelter. Back there, it was only 100 yards off trail. And that was 4.8 mile mark. I made it there in 2 hours. And that includes stopping for water and stopping to talk to those hunters for a couple minutes. So, pretty good, 2.4 mile an hour pace, but I spent almost a half an hour at the shelter. So, I'm on the move again, 10 minutes to 1. I got 7 miles to go. I'm going to stop at the Waya trailhead and dump my trash because I have so much of it because of that bear. Destroyed some of my food. And then from there, it's about a little over 6 miles to the shelter. I'm debating now whether to stay at the shelter because on the one hand, it's a shelter. It's supposed to rain tonight. Be good to stay dry. But it's a half mile off the trail. And that means a half mile back to the trail in the morning. So I'm going to look to see if there's good stealth options nearby. I can tent in the rain because tomorrow I'm at a hostel. So it's okay if I get a little wet. Not a big deal. So I'll make that decision later this afternoon once I get closer to the shelter and I know what time it is and how much time I have to find a suitable stealth site if that's what I decide to do. One of my favorite features alongside the trail, trash cans. So I just dumped my trash. My pack does feel lighter because I just dumped probably 5 pounds of food that got damaged by the bear. I am right now 6.3 miles to the shelter. Here's the problem. Shelter's half mile off trail. That means half mile to get there, half mile to get back to the trail. Number 2, okay, terrible signage here. I've found the trail. I start going down that gravel road and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. The trail goes off to the side, but it's not clearly marked. And as I was saying, the shelter problem is it's half mile off the trail, which means I'm half mile there, half mile back. Number 2, the bear cables, according to comments, are broken. So what's the advantage to stay in there? There's a privy and there's water source. However, there's a tent spot, a designated tent spot, 2.7 miles past that. I really don't want to go an extra 2.7 miles today. It's already after 1:30. That would make a 9 more miles I'd have to hike. The last 2.7 is downhill. I could do it. I'm probably going to shoot for that. Here's why. Because the time it takes me to get back to the trail and then hike to Rock Gap, I think it's called, to get the shuttle, that's going to take me a solid 4 hours at least. And I just called the hostel and the guy said he could pick me up anytime up until about 11, but then he has a doctor's appointment and he'd have to arrange for a different shuttle driver, and I know that would be a big fiasco and probably cost me more and all that. So I'd rather get a little bit farther today, have a shorter hike tomorrow, have like a 5 mile hike tomorrow, get on the trail by say 8 a.m., get down there to the gap by 10:30, 11 at the latest, and get that shuttle to the hostel, and then he's going to be gone and I have the afternoon to just relax, do laundry, take a shower, edit videos and whatever. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I hate pushing myself. You know, the whole point of these last 2 weeks was to enjoy myself and spread out my hike. But under the circumstances, with that bear experience last night, and no bear cables at the shelter anyway, I don't want to be a half mile off trail. If I'm there by myself, good God. So this tent site, it's 2.7 miles past. It's right next to a creek, so I'll have water, and it's right next to the trail. So, you know, if there's an incident, hopefully there'll be people nearby. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I just stopped for a break on the side of the trail. I meant to stop at this area. It said there was a picnic area. And I saw it on the GPS, and I saw it was coming up, and I kept looking for it. I'm like, I must be there by now. Where the hell is this thing? And I checked the GPS, and it says, oh, you're past it. I'm like, how did I pass it? How did I pass it? There's a picnic table. How can you miss a picnic table in the middle of the woods? And I looked at the comments, and someone said, oh, it's just off trail. I didn't see a side trail. I didn't see a sign. The woods were fairly open like this. I didn't see any picnic table anywhere off to the side. I don't know how I missed it. That's the second time I've missed something. Yesterday with the shelter I completely missed. Now today with the picnic table. I just wanted a picnic table to be able to set up my stuff to filter water. I just took a break. I had a snack. And I filtered water. So I'm all set to go. I got my 2 bottles filled. My electrolytes in it. It's just just after 3:30, and I have 4.6 miles. The first mile is uphill. After that, it's almost completely downhill. A little bit of a flat section, but 90% downhill. So I got to get there by 6 at the latest. That's way later than I like. That's 2.5 hours. So that's about a 1.9 mile an hour pace. I can do faster than that on the downhill for sure. So I'm hoping to get there like between 5:30 and 5:45. But I'm going to stop filming. I'm not going to film anything else until I get there. I'm just going to put my head down and hike my butt off to get there. So I have time to collect water, filter water, boil water, reconstitute my dinner, eat my dinner, clean up after dinner, brush my teeth, get everything ready before dark so I can get in my tent, and then I can do everything else inside my tent, inflate my sleeping pad and get changed and all that. I can do all that inside my tent with my headlamp on. But I got to get everything on outside the tent done before dark. I hate having a headlamp on out on the campsite because you're liable to drop something and lose it in the leaves or whatever. So that's my goal right now. I'll check in when I get to the tent site if I have time before it gets dark. Okay, here I go. 5:20 and I made it. It's about 25 minutes faster than I thought I was going to do. And the best part is there's other people camping here. So I'm not going to be by myself. So if there's a bear incident tonight, I got other people here. It's not the greatest spot. I'm going to tent right there. But it's far enough away from them. I won't bother them with all my tossing and turning. And I'll make it work for tonight. Tomorrow's a hostel. So got to get busy.